Welcome to the Jamaica Funk Show. I'm KT, and this is Joe.
Hello, people.
And this is Christos.
Hello, everybody. And again, the left hand is up. You see it? The left, not the right, the left.
Who cares? Anyways,
Somebody must care because he keeps doing it.
Tonight we got a great show for you. Joe, you want to tell them what we got going on tonight?
Sure. Tonight we are going to do part 3 in our series of the inside job that KT has been giving everybody some really good information on. I have a part that I'm going to be talking about, and don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted, but I'll be talking about it's my vagina. Christos, he couldn't decide what he was going to talk about, so he got some jokes. Christos always got some jokes.
And one is about the gynecologist. So we got a lot of vagina going on tonight.
A lot of vagina going on tonight, people. And of course, I will have Joe's poetry excerpts from my resume. Go ahead, KT.
And we got some reggae music, which we're not going to have a lot of reggae music because what I notice on Thursdays, our radio listeners, our guys here on Spreaker, by the way, we are streaming live on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com. And we're also streaming live on Facebook Live on the Jamaica Funk Show with KT. So, but what I notice on Thursdays is we don't get a lot of conversation in on the radio. So they don't really get the full gist of what we're talking about.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah, I think we kind of shortchanged
We've been doing people a disservice.
Yes, we have. So because we've been doing y'all a disservice, we are going to keep the music short tonight. And we're going to give you more of the show. So, having said all of that, Joe.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to get started?
Oh, sure. I want to get started because tonight I want to talk about it's my vagina.
Oh, my God.
That is the subject matter.
Oh, my God.
And just because I said it's my vagina doesn't necessarily mean I'm talking about my personal vagina. Although I'm sure it would interest some people, that's not the subject of this conversation in the context.
I thought you would.
Christop's head is already in the gutter. Go for it.
No, but I was thinking when you talk about vagina, you want to talk about it if it shaved the whole thing, half a moon, Rocky Star.
We didn't say nothing about shaving, no vaginas up in
He got
there.
all kinds of pictures
I mean,
in
you
his mind,
really you go there, don't you?
Trust me, that's fine. Go there, but
know.
That's not my subject matter.
Okay.
But I know Christos. I'm going to be reining that one back in this conversation.
All right.
So what's
But what I'm talking about tonight is the laws that are being and have been being imposed upon women since time immemorial. Ever since I can remember, people have been telling women what to do with our vaginas.
Yes.
And you know, some women do need to curb they whatever. But tonight we're talking about the laws that are on the books. Not only in our country, but I'm also following the Chibok, the girls who were kidnapped in Nigeria 2 years ago, I think now. And I also have a story of a law that's being passed about gender equality bathrooms and how one woman in her organization is against it, but they feel like they have very good reasons.
So let's get on this vagina thing. What's up?
Okay, so this first one comes out of Glamour magazine, written by Susanna Weiss, and this is the one I was talking about that is coming from, I think it's Canada, but we'll get into it. This is how the story goes. A state law continues to limit women's reproductive freedom by preventing them from ending pregnancies. Another type of law is less frequently discussed, those that govern what women can and cannot do while they're pregnant. A new Amnesty International report examines the devastating effects of pregnancy criminalization laws. Imagine that. Which punish women for drug abuse and other behaviors that could damage a fetus. 38 states have fetal assault laws, which make fetuses potential crime victims. And in 23 of these states, it doesn't even matter how old the fetus is. It could just have been conceived, and she could be arrested and go to jail for it. This legislation often targets women with drug addictions, but the laws end up punishing far more than that. Women have also gotten in trouble for falling down stairs, riding in cars without seat belts, attempted suicide, and declining medical treatment. Pregnant women are not always aware that what they are doing could be considered a crime, the report says. One woman charged with a chemical endangerment, exposing children to drugs in Alabama, didn't even know she was pregnant at the time.
Wow.
One woman in Tennessee, which criminalized giving birth to a baby with signs of drug exposure in 2014, abandoned her baby to hide from the police. Another woman gave birth alone in a car while attempting to drive to Georgia where she wouldn't be prosecuted.
Well, what's wrong with that? I mean,
they criminalized pregnancy of women. This is why this woman, another woman got an abortion largely to avoid the stress of potential charges.
Okay.
The threat of jail is like putting, I'm almost done with the article.
Go ahead.
The threat of jail is like putting a noose around your neck. A mother who lost custody of a child over drug addiction told Amnesty International. Pregnancy discrimination laws also expose larger race and less inequality. Without clear regulations on drug testing, police disproportionately target women of color and low income. As a result, women arrested for their actions during pregnancy can't afford lawyers. Fetal and newborn health is not promoted through punitive measures, but rather placed in jeopardy when pregnant women face criminal charges and incarceration. The report says, pregnant women who are dependent on drugs need support, assistance, and access to health care and drug treatment services, which currently remain largely inaccessible for them. They should not receive punishment.
Yeah, I think that's really, I think that's crazy. But well, wait a minute, Christos, before you go off on your tangent.
Okay.
First of all, I understand them, regulations and laws. But my problem with this is that, first of all, if a woman don't know she's pregnant, I don't understand how she's a criminal. Number one. Number two, when you put women in jail who are pregnant with babies, that fuels our foster care system. There are more children who are vulnerable to be sexually abused and all kinds of things to happen to them. And on top of that, these women are strung out on drugs. Instead of putting them in jail, why don't you put them in a drug rehab facility?
And that's one aspect.
I mean, that just makes more sense.
Yes, it does. But that's just one aspect. Women have gotten in trouble because they fell down some stairs. That's part of the article.
I mean, what about the men? What about the men who shoot these babies up in these women who smoke crack and snorted cocaine?
What about the men in general who are not there's no law against a man impregnated a woman, yet there's a law on a woman who says anything that you do, whether intentionally or non-intentionally, you can be arrested and go to jail for if by any chance you endanger the fetus. And
exactly.
That's ridiculous.
But how do you endanger
if you don't even know you're pregnant?
Okay, first of all, you have no business doing drugs if you're pregnant.
If you don't know you're pregnant, how are you going to
How many cases, if you don't know you're pregnant?
There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them, Christos.
Within a month you're pregnant.
No, you don't, Christos. You know too damn much about women's bodies not to be a woman.
What I'm saying is, don't endanger your baby. Don't spread your legs, so to speak, and have some guy with drugs get you pregnant. You gotta have your brains together.
Okay, but we're still talking about a dichotomy of women. We're talking, these laws are going to affect all women, not just women who do drugs.
If you have nothing to worry about, why you worry about
But that you don't understand what I just read.
Yes,
the women that were being arrested and charged with endangering their fetuses, one didn't even know she was pregnant. So she's being charged with endangering a fetus.
How do they know if she was pregnant if she didn't know?
Because they did a pregnancy test on her, obviously, when she got arrested and found out she was pregnant. Okay. And then the law applied to her. But she didn't know prior to getting arrested. Another woman has said that she fell down some stairs. They're charging her with endangering a child. Didn't ask her, was it an accident? Did somebody push you? You're automatically endangering a child because you accidentally fell down some stairs.
Well, there you got some unique cases that I can understand that. But in general terms, a woman herself has to be protecting the life she's carrying.
And generally, women who are pregnant do just that.
Okay, so
but my issue is this: where does the male responsibility come in at? Because you all are so quick. Y'all so
point
quick
the
you know
finger
what?
at us. Well, I tell you what,
Because
she
women
should be
want to
opening
shape
up her
their man
legs
to
and
their
letting the
own.
penis into her vagina and getting pregnant. Guess what? Stop putting your penis in her vagina when she open up her
Well,
leg.
listen to me, guys.
No, listen to me, guys.
Okay, I'm listening to you.
The problem here is that
You're
you got.
trying to shape men to whatever women want a man to be, a little shaped.
No, we
so
ain't
much
trying to-
bullshit right
Well, wait,
now.
wait,
Put them in your pocket.
Wait a
and take
minute.
them out
Wait a
anytime
minute.
you want.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What is that
Christos,
got to do with what we're talking
Yeah.
about?
Christos.
Yeah.
First of all, it is not women trying to shape men. It is men trying to shape women into what they think we should and should not be. What they think we should and should not do. And when we should do it and when we shouldn't do it.
How we should do
Okay,
it and what will happen
so
to us
as
if
far
we in
as I'm
fact have the nerve
concerned,
to do it.
you right there with the rest of them chauvinists.
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
you are.
no,
you
you're
with
gonna-
the rest
no,
of them. You
no.
are one of them.
No.
And as far as I'm concerned, when a woman is pregnant
Yes.
and she knows, most women who knows they're pregnant, they protect their fetus. Okay? When you're strung out on drugs, which they have proven that drug addiction is an illness. It is not a crime. It is
I
an
don't
illness.
think
No,
so.
no, no.
Yes, it is. It is
I
a
don't
it
think
has
so.
been proven by law that
No,
drug
it's
addiction
not.
and doctors look, Christos.
They call it opioid addiction.
I don't
thank
care
you.
what they call it.
But that's what
That's
they
by
call
the
it.
medical science.
I don't care what they make us.
First of
They
all,
make
let
us
me
science
finish.
Every 10 minutes
Let
they
me
change.
finish. Let me finish.
Yes.
Like I said, drug addiction is an illness. It is, as Joe said, opioid addiction.
Opioid.
Now, when it's an illness, why not put these women in treatment? Why? How do you treat an illness in a jail cell? Okay? And then on top of that, when the woman had a baby, they take the baby from her
If she's in prison.
and if she's in prison.
And there goes
and-
the foster
and
care system.
Let me finish, damn it.
Go for it. Calm down.
Then they put the baby in foster care.
What, are they going to keep it in jail?
They should. The mama's
What's
there.
wrong with that?
The mama's
But
there.
you know what would
Stop it.
happen? Here's
You
my.
go from one extreme
Why,
to
wait a
another.
minute.
That's what you do on a regular
Wait a
basis,
minute.
dude.
You got too many kids. There's a program on TV called The Fosters, and it's about these gay this two lesbian women who are married, and they've adopted a lot of foster children,
Okay.
and one has one natural child, but these children and these that come into this home are foster children. They talk about all the abuses that they've endured in some of the homes that they were placed in. What you don't understand is some of these kids go through hell. Okay, they're sexually abused. They don't have a home because the
You're losing the
system.
conversation.
The
This
system
child
took
was
their
put in-
children.
This child was put into foster care because the mother was arrested for doing something they're saying by law she shouldn't have done while she was
Okay.
pregnant.
Okay.
When,
First of all,
and they're saying also that it's an illness. So make up your damn mind. What the hell is it?
Can I
Okay.
answer that? Very simple answer. First of all, when you say men do the laws, the last time I checked, women are running for every government position. Men just
That's
don't write
why.
the laws.
That's
Women
why.
vote for that too.
We running for every government
Exactly.
position
So don't
so
say
that
men.
we can create some laws that support women.
I agree with it, but don't say man makes the
Men
laws.
did make these
In
laws.
the
But
beginning-
women vote for it.
Men, no,
Yes, some women
we
vote
didn't
for it.
know.
Oh, wait, you know what? You do have a point. There are some women who vote for them, and there are some women who vote against them. But predominantly, the laws that are on the books right now, as far as what a woman can and cannot do with her
Yes.
vagina,
Yes.
has been put on place and in the books by men.
And the man was raised not by monkeys, by a woman.
That's so
What's that got to
unfortunate.
do with any damn
Of
thing?
course, the women touch their men to be their way.
Okay.
And second, this idea about drugs and illness, my rear end is illness. When you first time try it, why you try it? Don't try it. It's not an illness. If you keep on shooting yourself, why is it my fault on their fault? Stop doing drugs.
Well, see, now that's another conversation.
It's
but
not
everybody,
real.
I want
Hold on,
you to
hold on.
I want
Knowingly.
Christos, I
Hold
want
on.
you to understand
Yes.
something here. You don't have any children. that are addicted to drugs. So you don't understand what they go through, drug addicts go through, and the parents of these drug addicts, what they go through. You don't understand the severity of that particular addiction and how that they can't just get off of some of these drugs. You do it one time and you're strung out on it. Okay, and everybody ain't like you. Everybody don't abstain from doing stuff like you do. So you cannot look at the world and forget about their humanity and only take into consideration your humanity, because people are different.
They just are.
Then let them live their lives with drugs then.
Okay,
Why
first
do
of all,
you
what
be
part of
infect
the
everybody else's
conversation?
lives?
Okay, again, we are off the subject.
Okay.
We are not
We
talking
really.
about opioid drug addiction. We're
Okay.
talking about
Women being
women's
incarcerated.
women's rights, and how there is a law on the books in 23 states as of this conversation that says that there are laws that preventing women from ending pregnancies, having abortion, right? The new Amnesty International reports all of this. This is what I was talking about.
Okay.
The laws that are on the books telling a woman what she can and cannot do with her vagina before, during, and after being pregnant.
They don't tell every woman what to do. They tell the irresponsible woman what to do with it. If you're a responsible woman,
Joe,
you care for
I'm
your
gonna
I,
go to
body.
the
I
next
want
story.
you to go to the next
I'm
story
gonna go to the
because
next story.
I can't
Never.
deal with that no more.
Not even a
I,
little
I
bit.
will not even
Okay,
deal with
can
that.
I say
Okay.
my
No,
choice?
no. Go ahead, Joe.
Because you're not feeling this right now.
Okay.
Just
I'm
go ahead
trying
and
to-
finish
So there's
finish
three
it
parts
because
to
we're
this,
right?
right?
we're
So the
time.
next one, right? So the next one is regarding the 300 Chibakan young girls who were kidnapped 2 years ago during the Obama administration, and the story is called "The Negotiating with Nigeria with Boko Haram for More Chibok Releases," and this is coming from Dakar in Senegal. Nigeria's government is negotiating seriously for the release of more than 110 kidnapped Chibok schoolgirls still held by Boko Haram, and will exchange more detained members of the extremist group for them if needed, an official said. So they're willing to give them whatever they want. Just give us our daughters back.
Right.
We will not relent until all are back, the Minister of Women's Affairs and Social Development, Aisha Al-Hassan, told reporters in the capital, Abuja. The mass abduction of nearly 300 schoolgirls from a boarding school 3 years ago brought world attention to Boko Haram's deadly rampage in northern Nigeria. Thousands have been kidnapped or killed in the group's 8-year insurgency, with millions driven from their homes. On Saturday, this is a dated story, this is not this past Saturday, 82 of the Chibakan girls were released into Nigeria's government, exchanged for 5 detained Boko Haram commandos, according to an official who spoke on condition of anonymity because he wasn't allowed to say anything. Negotiations with extremist groups mediated by the International Committee of the Red Cross and the Swiss government also resulted in the October release of a first group of 21 Chibok girls. So a few of them at a time are being released.
Right.
Al-Hassan said Nigeria's government had no regrets about exchanging Boko Haram commanders for the schoolgirls' release. We'll do it again if needed, she said in comments tweeted by Nigeria's government. The young women were joining those released earlier in the government care in Abuja, where they were undergoing medical screening that will take a couple of weeks. Al-Hassan said some must undergo surgery.
Wow.
The government has been caring for 24 previously released girls and 4 babies.
Wow.
Al-Hassan said a small number of the schoolgirls managed to escape on their own. The group of girls released in October were in bad shape and spent 2 months in medical care. Human rights groups have criticized the government for keeping them so long in the capital, far from their homes. Al-Hassan said they traveled to Chibok for Christmas, but upon their return to the capital, said they were scared to go back to their community. Some of the girls who escaped shortly after the mass kidnapping said some classmates had died from illness and others were radicalized and didn't want to come home. Human rights advocates have said they fear some of the girls have been used by Boko Haram to carry out suicide bombings.
Wow.
Wow. That's not good. That's
What the
tough.
good part is they're in negotiations, and even though we won't get all the girls back, we will get 121 girls so far are back home. And I think that's good, even though we're still talking 300. Some have been sold, Some have gotten married. They've obviously been raped and beaten. That's why they've had to have surgeries. They're traumatized.
Of course.
And they took these women, and this is just my personal opinion, why they kidnap young girls, because they're young, inexperienced. And in order to grow, what's the word I'm looking for? In order to grow this radicalization that they want, they have to radicalize some of them, but the rest of them they actually have to impregnate. They have to get soldiers. And how do you get soldiers? You start them off young. So the girls that aren't back yet are radicalized and are married and they have babies, and it's the Stockholm syndrome. Your kidnapper keeps you long enough, you'll do whatever they want.
And what is the army that can capture these people?
Boko Haram, they're a terrorist organization.
I understand, but they're getting their money from somewhere.
They're negotiating to get their commanders back that are in jail in Nigeria. And they are releasing 5 of those commanders to get these girls back. As much as they want to keep these guys, right, as much as they want to keep them, these girls need to come back home. Because the longer they're there, the harder it's going to be for them to join
last year, they released 80 of the girls, 82. And they released 5 of the commanders.
Right.
I don't know what they've done. Well, I guess they've done, 22 to date.
They said 21, but yeah.
21 to date. But the fact of the matter is, this is something that has gone on the continent of Africa. I mean, you got Somalia that was going through that with the terrorist organizations that were killing families and taking their little boys, their sons, and turning them into militants and what have you.
Making them soldiers, teaching them how to shoot guns.
Absolutely.
Teaching them how to fight, be brutal.
Do drugs and the whole 9 yards.
Of that. Tell our viewers who is Boko Haram and what do they stand for? What is it they want from Jamaica?
You want to say? Why don't you tell the viewers?
Truly.
No, you.
I'm telling
you. No, you should tell them because you're the one with that question.
This is about women's issues.
Right. And we're
not Boko Haram.
Right.
That's an extended conversation.
Right. And we're not trying to go into that.
Group. They are a terrorist group, and they terrorize They terrorized these girls' families, this community that they came from. And they killed a lot of people, and they kidnapped 300 young girls. And they have had them for more than 2 years now.
Right, I know the story.
Okay, so that's basically the story. And what it's saying is they don't give a rat's ass about the dignity of a woman and what she should stand for in society. That they're using these girls as bargaining tools to get what they want. Wow. And while they're not getting what they want, they're using them to impregnate them, to beat them, to terrorize them. And these girls are traumatized. They'll have PTSD probably for who knows how long. They're afraid to even go home to their own community where they should be safe, but that's where they were kidnapped from.
The thing is that this is something that is going on around the world. I don't know what the solution for this is. And I take it you don't either.
Nope, not at all.
And the thing is that it is wrong, but hey, it is what it is. So we just pray that the rest of these girls are released and they manage to find peace again.
Because their families are given permission to come and visit them. They're not being held against their will. Those that think that they want to go home after they've been examined, and if they have to have surgery.
From where? The hospital once the
government releases them medically, because they're
traumatized. So then
their families can come and see them whenever they want to.
So what's confusing is you're saying that it sounded like you were saying that the families could visit them in this where they've been abducted at.
Mm-hmm. No, and
once they've been brought back home.
Right.
Yeah, well, I understand.
The girls that have been released and the ones that
their
released
families
in October
can see them.
and those that have escaped, they're there. Many of them are saying that they're afraid to go back home.
Okay. Well,
so
I understand.
They're saying if their families want to come and visit them in Nigeria, they can do that. It's an open door policy. But the sad truth is, these are the kind of things that happen to women around the world, which is why I picked this story out. These girls are now some societies will call them damaged goods.
Well, the thing is, that's neither here nor there. The thing is one thing that we're fortunate as females here in the U.S. of A. Unless and we are abducted and sold into slavery, into sex slavery, and that's transported outside of the country, and that does happen here in America. Um, for the most part, we don't have to worry about some terrorist group coming into our neighborhoods, shooting up our homes, and taking our women and young girls as hostage.
Right.
So we're blessed here. I just say that we pray for those girls, and we hope that they have a safe um, travels back home.
Yeah.
Once they're released.
Hopefully, God will.
So,
Yeah.
Christos, you want to do one of your jokes before we get ready to do the inside job?
Yeah, I can do the one now and the other one later.
Right. Sounds good.
This doctor for heart, cardiologist died, and they had about 500 people go to his funeral. So they built this heart with flowers, casket with big flowers, and after everybody gave him that great respect, they picked him up and they put him into this casket with a big flower. So everybody give him the respect, they're walking out. This guy could not hold himself left. His friends are kicking him, from the side, and they're pushing him. What are you doing? You're on the funeral. Why are you laughing? He says, I cannot believe this. He says, what? He says, I'm a vagina doctor, and I'm wondering how it's going to look when I'm dying. And that's what I'm picturing.
He's a vagina doctor.
You mean a gynecologist?
Yeah, he was a gynecologist, and he was thinking, what kind of vagina they're going to build to put him in there when he dies.
He wants to be buried in the vagina. Oh, okay, that's actually kind of funny though. What do you want to be buried in? Hey.
So listen, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. You're listening to the Jamaica Funk Show with Joe, Christos, and KT on Spreaker.com. Well, Irei Mon.
Let me love you till you can't take no more.
Docu-film.
All right, inside job. So where I left off last week, we were talking about President Reagan and what was going on in his administration. So at the time, President Reagan appointed Alan Greenspan chairman of the American Central Federal Reserve Bank. Greenspan was also reappointed by Presidents Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. During the Clinton administration, the regulations continued under Greenspan and the Treasury Secretary Robert Rubin, former CEO of the investment bank Goldman Sachs, and Larry Summers, a Harvard economist professor. By the late 1990s, the financial sector had consolidated into a few gigantic firms, each of them so large that their failure threatened the whole system, and the Clinton administration helped them to grow even larger. In 1998, Citicorp and Travelers merged to form Citigroup, the largest financial service company in the world. The merger violated the Glass-Steagall Act, a law passed after the Great Depression, which prevented banks with consumers' deposits from engaging in risky investment banking, and it was illegal to acquire.
Your body still feel like it never been touched yet. John, no baby.
Greenspan said nothing about it.
The touch you give me, I know me never let you go. Cause every time you touch me, I feel like a good night. You run me the boy, when was I cuff? Remember when you tell me say you have enough? Body turn up, oh. You make me young shade when you love up, oh. You alone every day, you alone in a day for you. Now the planet don't need makeup. Love you forever and we not break up. Till my life over. Everybody know you are me lover. Give you good love, like that. Anywhere you go, you must come back. Baby, in my life over. Everybody know you are me lover. Give you good love, like that. Anywhere you go, you must come back. If you happy, stay slim. If you happy, fat. Love you anywhere, and your body that. You want no cabby, but happy that. You want me need from me habitat. You alone don't need makeup. Love you forever and we not break up. Till my life over. Everybody know you want me lover. Give you good love, can you like that? Anywhere you go, you must come back. Baby, in my life over. Everybody know you want me lover. Give you good love, can you like that? Anywhere you go, you must come back.
Why do
no
we have
great like you? Some now make none of them take your part. Gotta me hype you. As long as we leave you them by my side. You alone banks are too no, the baby don't need makeup. Love you forever and we not break up. Till my life over. Everybody know you want me lover. Give you good love, can you like that? Anywhere you go, you must come back. Baby, in my life over. Everybody know you want me lover. Give you good love, can you like that? Anywhere you go, you must come back.
They are very big. Therefore, you have to put compartments to prevent the slushing around of oil from capsizing the boat. If you don't know what capsizing is, it means to overturn the boat.
An idiot presidential candidate wants to make America
the
great
design
again.
has to be
And
taken
which great America
into
does he think will come back with the rhetoric
so,
that's being spit?
After the Depression,
Let's just separate ourselves from
regulations
those who believe his
introduced
bullshit,
a watertight compartment.
Because all they want is for
And
America to be filled with
deregulation
racism,
has
hatred,
led to
fear,
the
and
end
loathing
of
for one
this
another, all over again.
compartmentalization.
The great America that
The
struggled
next
by
crisis
grandparents
came.
and uncles and aunts and sisters and brothers. The great
The next
America that
crisis
denied us
came
entrance into
in the
stores
ni-
and
in
made
the
us sit on
at
the
the
back
end
of the
of the
bus.
90s.
The great America
The
that watched us
investment
as our
bankers
churches burned and
fueled
dogs
a
attacked us
massive
and fire
bubble
hoses
with
were sprayed on
internet
civilians while they
stocks,
protested for
which
equality.
was
The
followed
great
by the
America that became
crash
the
in
killing fields in Mississippi.
2001.
The great America that kept
The
us down and
cost,
poor and neglected by
$5
societal
trillion
standards.
in
That great America
investment
that only
lost.
accepted the predominance of
And
white people.
the
Let's
Securities
make
and
America great
Exchange
again.
Commission, a
Not that
federal
great America that
agency
kept my parents'
which
parents
had
and
been
their parents from
created
getting a
during
college
the Depression
education,
to
a home
regulate
loan, and a
investment
decent
banking,
job. Not that
done
great
nothing.
America that required them to kneel on the floors
Elliot
of white-owned
Spritzer, the
homes,
New
where
York
they had to scrub the
Attorney
floors of white
General,
people.
revealed
That
that
great America where
the
they could clean their
investment
toilets
banks
but
to
not use them.
perform
That great
in
America
the
where we lived
absence
separate
of
from them at night,
meaningful
and during the day
federal
we raised
action,
their
and
children
there has
and went home to
been
beans
none.
and rice for dinner every night
Not
for
so much
literally
there.
pennies.
Yeah.
Always
And
eating the
given
scraps from their tables.
the clear
Let's
failure
make America
of
great again.
self-regulation,
You know, the one that
it has
oppressed and
become
brutalized women.
necessary for
The
others
great
to
America
step in
that told
and
women we weren't
adapt
equal to
the
men and
protection
denigrated
needed.
us on the cover of Playboy magazine
Elliot
and used
Spritzer
us as a tool to make
investigation
other rich
revealed
men
the
in other countries
investment
happy
bankers had
by
promoted
peddling our
internet
flesh across the
companies they
ocean,
knew would
keeping
fail.
slavery alive,
Stock
well, and
analysts were
thriving.
being paid
That's the
based
great
on
America I
how
remember.
much business they
The
brought
great
in
America I
and
still
what
see.
they said publicly
Because that's the
was
truly
quite
great
different
America.
from what they said privately. InfoSpace was given the highest possible rating. Now, InfoSpace was an internet site, okay? It was given the highest possible rating, and it was said to be a piece of junk. Exide, also highly rated, was called a piece of crap.
Exxon was this big, huge oil company.
No, not Exxon. Exide. It's EXID.
Okay, Exide. Okay.
It was an internet stop.
Okay.
So,
because of the hit songs. Me tell him say a company sign
now,
and him a give me
defense that
about
was
30
preferred
million.
by many investment
Me coulda
banks
see it
were
then
not
myself.
we're wrong,
Happy for me.
but they were.
Make people so bad mind, yeah.
Everybody knows what is going on. Therefore, nobody should rely on the analysts anyways. This is their excuse. For why? Yeah. Oh, they telling you. You shouldn't rely on these analysts who tell you that this stock and that stock is going to be good. They're letting you know that that's a crock of crap.
And somehow them not happen figure.
December 2002, 10 large investment banks
When you call your friend not the worst, them and free for you.
settled the case for a total of $1.4 billion and promised to change their way. The 10 banks were: 1. Bear Stearns were fined $80 million. The second bank, Credit Suisse, was fined $200 million. The third bank, Deutschland Bank, was fined $80 million. JP Morgan was fined $80 million. Lehman Brothers was fined $80 million. Merrill Lynch was fined $200 million. Morgan Stanley was fined $125 million. UFC was fined $80 million. And get this, Goldman Sachs was fined $110 million. But now here's the clincher. Citigroup, the bank that was formed under the Clinton administration, that was said to be illegally formed, they were fined $400 million. Scott Talbert is the chief lobbyist for Financial Service Roundtable, one of the most powerful groups in Washington, which represents nearly all the world's largest financial companies. Was asked, are you comfortable with the fact that several of your member companies have engaged in large-scale criminal activities? His response was, you have to be more specific. So then the guy who asked him, which I believe was Matt Damon, asked him, he said, okay. And before the guy, Matt Damon could tell him, be more specific, Scott Calvert jumped in and said, first of all criminal activity should be unacceptable, period. Now, since the regulations begun, the world's biggest financial firms have been caught laundering money, defrauding customers, and cooking their books again and again and again. Get this, JP Morgan Chase bribed the government officials. They bribed a government official, okay? And another one, Riggs Bank, laundered money for a Chilean dictator, Augustine Pinochet. Well, it really is. Drug dealers, go take your money to the investment banks. They'll launder it for you. You don't have no problem. 10 days? Yeah.
When you think about how much money this much is that's like $8 million.
No, none of this. And the whole nutshell is that if it had been you or I, we've been under the jail. Matter of fact, they probably put us before firing squad to shoot us.
We used to like, I tell our families they should drop me motivation, take it from our family.
Right.